it is time, I believe, for a round of tweets. Let's do that, shall we? 5 minutes on the clock. Here we go. Wait. I'm not going to start until you get the clock. There we go. Hold on. Got to get that timer up. Bop, bada, bop, bop. There it is. There's the timer. And there we go. Okay, who do you see as the biggest threat to Valentina Shevchenko if there ever was one? Influenza is the biggest threat to Valentina Shevchenko. Short of that, not a soul. Next. Luke, there's any particular reason why Eric Albarracine's fighters are having so much success lately? You know, I asked him to come on today's show, and he wasn't available, at least not to me. So I need to dig into the details on that one a little bit more. Obviously, he has a background at the senior level in wrestling himself through the Army, so he knows what it takes to compete. But beyond that, I'm not really sure. I need to dig into the details more. Next. Thoughts on Azard signing the soccer hour? Yeah, like I said, first of all, it's fine. The Jokic signing, then the Azard signing. Madrid's going to come back. They're going to sell Bale for $1 million or whatever, $1 gazillion. And I hope they're not going to get Mbappe probably, but there's some other names they could get in the offseason. And when they do, I'm going to be even more insufferable, you peasants. All right, next. Is Cejudo actually a better 135er than a 125er? Similar to how DC is a better heavyweight than a light heavyweight? That's a great question from our own Casey Leiden. Don't know the answer. Need to see him compete at 135 a couple of more times because the distance issues in this fight, he was able to overcome them by somebody who was relying on another person to allow distance. Versus, as I mentioned before, Max Holloway fights at distance because he forces it. I need to see how he handles somebody who is better at forcing distance. So the answer could be yes. DC we know because he started heavyweight, then went to light heavyweight, then went back to heavyweight. I just need a bigger body of work to make a more informed judgment. But would I be surprised if he's better at 135? Not necessarily. No. Next. Is Tony Ferguson the greatest face rearranger in MMA? He certainly leaves a mark on his opponent's faces. There was actually a post. You go and look at the opponent's faces. So whether it was Anthony Pettis or Kevin Lee or Edson Barboza or Donald Cowboy Cerrone or, on and on, Lando Venata, their faces were all super jacked up. RDA, because he just puts a beating on these guys. It's not, just Guy's face was probably fine because she took a shin to the dome. But Ferguson just kind of really, he just grinds the meat. The original face rearranger was BJ Penn. BJ Penn was the guy who was out there changing faces when it was, Cal Uno and, God, who were some other ones? He just utterly annihilated. Diego Sanchez was one. Kenny Florian less so, but he beat him up too. But yeah, there was just a bunch of guys. Joe Stevenson, when there was like a geyser out of his forehead from the rear naked choke after the elbow. Yeah, but Tony Ferguson has inherited that mantle. Next. Valentina Shevchenko's confidence is through the roof right now, and she is the only woman that has given Amanda Nunes trouble. Could you see them fighting again at 135? Absolutely. The 2021 Abu Dhabi card, possibly? Well, I don't want to look that far into the future, but do I think that Shevchenko and Nunes have fought for the last time? Only if Nunes retires early. If she sticks around long enough, there's not a doubt in my mind they're going to fight a third time. Absolutely. Next. How long will Valentina own 125 pounds? Again, unless somebody comes along, like maybe let's see what happens with Macy Barber. She's got 2-3 years to figure it out. Let's see. But if someone doesn't come along just looking at the current crop, the answer is as long as she wants. Short of making a huge mental error, injury, or influenza. That is it. Next. How are your sinuses working now after the surgery? Are you still mouth breathing? Would you recommend the surgery to a fellow perpetually clogged nose mouth breather like myself? I feel like it made a slight improvement. I won't say it made a dramatic improvement. I still have a lot of problems with my nose that I guess are just not fixed. I had a sinusplasty, for folks who may not know what that is. And here's what I would tell you, that the recovery is awful. It is awful. And that I got it during the birth of my daughter, 2 days after, was very stupid. I do not recommend that to anybody. Look, it's made some improvements, but I think I just got so much damage back there without significant intervention. It's just going to be what it's going to be. Next. Which is more likely, a rematch of Tony and Cowboy or Tony getting winner of Habib and Poirier fight? Again, assuming Conor doesn't intervene, Tony and Cowboy rematch, which, by the way, is also not going to happen. One more of these. By the way, that just so it's clear, that's why they want to do Tony and Cowboy rematch. Not because there's like an unresolved question. Slightly there is, just so Conor can get leeway to fight the winner of Khabib and Poirier. It's got nothing else to do with anything. One more. All right. Should the UFC simply give Valentina a belt every 3 or 4 months in order to save a couple of handfuls or so lives? Yeah. I mean, here I am saying all this, and now, she may go in there and lose against Chookagian. I don't see that happening. Chookagian's a fine fighter. She's a good fighter. She's a nice person. You're just dealing with somebody who is utterly beyond that. So, like I said, what do you do when the most qualified contender for a fight is so far behind that it's a mismatch? I don't know, mismatches in like one's better. A mismatch is that when one is so much better, it ends up resulting in a horrible consequence for the loser. That's what you saw here. Like, they just get thoroughly thrashed.